My name is Susan Golubock, and I'm an autistic, now retired occupational therapist. And I'm with Making Sense of Autism. I would like to introduce the concept of shared control to promote self-determination in autism. Let's talk about the importance of self-determination in everyone's life. Self-determination actually starts with the terrible twos, the mind, me, do it stage, where they're seeking independence, they have a sense of self, and they want to do things their way, to the best of their ability. It's a very strong beginning to self-determination. By age 2, typical children start seeking control, using both words and behaviors when they can't think of the words to express themselves. Use of the words are delayed, unfortunately, in autism, yet we still do seek control using what we have in the way of behaviors. Unfortunately, they are typically discouraged, i.e., use your words, even though because of motor control issues, we struggle to express ourselves using words. So the beginnings of self-determination are often discouraged in autistic individuals. Instead, we're offered control. Here's how you should do it. Here's how you should be. And that's the beginning of denying autistics what every individual seeks: self-determination. The result is we end up with learned dependence, oftentimes for life, continued behavioral demands, i.e., expressing ourselves the only way we know when we're totally frustrated and no one gets us and no one's listening. And then, if not, then tremendous stress and anxiety, trying to find a balance between appeasing others and our strong desire for self-determination. Let's define self-determination. It certainly starts with a self-awareness and self-knowledge. But who teaches autistics how to be autistic, i.e., the best autistic we can be, just like a typical child would be the best person they can be. But no one teaches us how to be that. Instead, we're taught how to be unlike autistic, like typical children, which we're not. Self-awareness then leads to being able to make choices and decisions for ourselves, set our own goals, advocate for ourselves. This is the essence of self-determination. Self-determination leads to autonomy. We have to feel in control of our own behaviors and goals to be an autonomous individual. A sense of competence. When we set our own goals and we achieve those goals and we make successful choices and decisions, we feel mastery over the challenges that life presents for us. And it's all because it reinforces this sense of self that we have, of self-worth and our own abilities. Self-determination will lead to connectedness or relatedness with other people, because if we see ourselves as an individual and capable, we want others to see us that way too. So we want to connect with others, or at least typical people do. But if we never get there, we never are allowed self-determination, because we're always taught and corrected to do it other than the way we feel we need to do it, we miss out on that social connectedness or relatedness or sense of attachment to other people. So why do we need to teach self-determination to autistic students? Why don't we develop it? Well, we're trying, but we're not encouraged. Again, it starts with self-awareness, followed by self-understanding, acceptance, advocacy, disclosure, and leading to determination. There are steps. And the first most important thing is self-awareness. And we're not encouraged to be aware of self. We're only encouraged to develop like other people. So subconscious assumptions by other people can often be what denies autistics self-determination. The assumption that autistic behaviors that are not socially acceptable need to change, i.e., if we do something that isn't considered typical or normal, we are corrected, i.e., we're told the person we are is not acceptable. So we don't develop that sense of self. Communication dictates competence. At least that's the subconscious assumption. And since autistics struggle to communicate, we are often judged to not be competent and therefore need to be directed and told what to do and how to act. The fact that we have a identified disability suggests inability to most people. So it's assumed that we will need supports, prompts, and protection for life. But that denies us any sense of autonomy. Social majority rules. So autistics need to learn to fit in or adapt to the way the world works. At least that's what we're told, which doesn't help us feel a connection to a world we don't fit in and we don't understand. So how do we teach self-determination to autistic individuals? And surprisingly enough, I discovered the need that autistics have to have some control. And as an occupational therapist, I started giving them, or at least sharing control. And then I found that there is a course on discipline for typical people, for typical parents, to teach their children called Sharing Control. By sharing control, you teach awareness and advocacy for yourself and others, because shared controls means I'm in control part of the time and you are in control of other part of the time or aspects of a task. And that is modeling for them what control looks like and how we make decisions and how we problem solve, so that when it's their turn, we've taught them through example how to do it. It helps to teach competence in making choices if we know the consequences. So when I give them choices, I'll also explain the consequences. If you choose this, this is likely what's going to result. If you choose that, you might get a different result. That helps them to make wiser choices. We teach problem solving. That choice didn't work out as well as we expected. Maybe we should go back to our choices and pick another one. That's problem solving. And it also leads to realistic goal setting, i.e., maybe we made that too hard. Maybe we need to change our goal to something a little more easy to accomplish. Also accepting responsibility for those choices, which leads to competence. So if I make a wise choice, I'm likely to be more successful. Accepting and adapting to failure. This is one of the things that I struggled with so hard with my autistic individuals, the fear of failure. They felt if they get it wrong, even once, they're a total failure and they're not willing to try again. And failure is an important way of trial and error learning. Flexibility. And I'm showing them, look, there's always another answer. There's always another option or a choice you can make. Whereas autistics, because we don't intuitively know what our options are, if someone doesn't tell us, we don't think we have options. And that leads to inflexibility. All right, let's look at some possible opportunities to teach shared control, both at home and at school, without changing what it is you do, more how you do it. Shared control opportunities, for example, during an academic or learning task, the teacher or the instructional assistant or the parent in that case may choose what to learn and the desired results. So they're going to say, here's what we're going to do, and here's the result we need to achieve. And this is how long it's going to take. We're going to start, and this is when we're going to stop. And this may be the task, learning to add. Okay, then you can give the student, all right, you have the choice where we should do the task. Do we want a quiet environment? Are we okay with this environment? With whom do you want to do the task? Would it help to have another peer doing it with you and I? What materials would you like to complete the task? I mean, maybe it's helpful to have these hands that you can put up the numbers, or maybe blocks are easier for you to choose from, or the clothespins that associate them with what helps you understand the value of numbers, because we're going to be adding them. You both need to then agree, i.e., you're preparing for any possible problems, how to use your time if they get done early and we have extra time. What should we do? Could we go back and repeat them? Should we take a short break? Do you think we'll need a break before we can complete this task? Should we build in that time? Talk about those issues that may come up while you're doing the task, and what to do if they actually need more time or more help. How do you let me know that you're not sure you need another prompt to help you decide whether this is the correct answer or not? Then let's give another example of opportunities during, say, an interactive task where there's a group environment. In this case, the adult is going to choose what's going to happen and why. And it's important to explain why we're doing it. With whom will it happen and why? I.e., there will be other children there, 5 more. Oh, if you can't handle 5, maybe we could do it in groups of 2. How, when, and where it will happen. All those are your choices, are your control. But you're going to give the child control or options where to be so they can watch, listen, and or participate in the group activity. You may choose they're in the back of the room so they don't have distractions behind them, and they choose to just simply watch. Or if they participate, they may use an AAC device to express what they want. They could draw pictures. They may choose, because group settings can be very distracting, to have your instructional assistant videotape it, and they're allowed to watch it on the TV set by themselves without any distractions, so they can put their full attention to learning. So give them the options that they have. Now, you both are going to have to agree on how they can signal when they need a break, i.e., I'm reaching the limit of what I can handle, and I need a break. Where can they go, and how much time do they need for the break, and how to maybe make up for what they may miss when they take a break. Okay, those are things that you're going to want to problem solve in advance with them before the activity that will prepare them to be successful in that and feel that they have some say and control, even though the majority of the control is going to be yours. You're sharing the idea of control with them, i.e., teaching them how to make decisions for themselves. Let's look at another example: sharing control doing routine tasks, classroom tasks, putting the chairs up, erasing the board, coming in the morning. Where do they put the materials, and how do they gather them before they go home? Making snacks or preparing themselves for lunchtime. Simple routine tasks throughout the day. Again, the adult is going to be in control of deciding what needs to be done and the desired result, offering visuals if need be so they can see ahead what the final result is supposed to look like, i.e., a clean chalkboard with no chalk on it, a backpack with the following items, using visual cues to help them understand what needs to be done. Then give the child the choice about how the task gets done. Okay, Who cares how it gets done as long as it gets done the way the end result is shown to them that it needs to be? And what they need to help them get started on any task. What materials do you need to gather? They can choose, and that's helping them to plan, which is an important part, but you're giving them control and the consequences. If you forget to gather this, what's going to happen? So you're planning in advance, you're helping them to plan. That's executive functioning skills that they need help with. You're both going to want to agree on what materials they'll need to complete the task and what to do when they're done and or if they need help. These are examples of sharing control. Here's another one for non-structured activities, such as free time, recess. The child is given, in this case, what they want to do, where they want to do it, and with whom they want to do it. Give them as many choices as possible. Do they have to go? If they're on the playground, can they just lay and read a book instead of getting on the swings or slides because it's too busy an environment? As long as they're within view of an adult, that may be an acceptable choice. Never give them a choice that you're not willing to agree with, but do give them choices. Same thing with lunch. Is there a place you could go to eat your lunch in a quiet environment as opposed to the cafeteria where all the other children are? Offer them choices that are acceptable and workable. You are going to choose when and for how long they can do it and the rules they need to follow to ensure safety. You both need to agree in advance what materials they may need to engage in the activity and what to do when the time is up. For those autistics that are non-speaking or don't seem to be able to indicate a choice, use the power of no. If the autistic individual is not able to indicate their choice when it's offer to select for them with the condition that they can say no if they don't like your choice. Now, the way they may say no could be a gesture, a frown, becoming upset, or just even looking disappointed. Anything that indicates, other than an enthusiastic yes, that they're not sure, they don't like it, whatever it is, you're going to take that and let them know what they're doing that's telling you they don't like the choice you're making. So that hopefully they will make that same response each time to know how to indicate to you, I don't like your choice. When they indicate no, go ahead and cross that choice off the list and say, oh, I see that's not something you want to try. Let's try a different one. Accept that failure to say no as a yes. So if they don't say no, then assume, oh, you want to give it a try? And then go ahead and try it with the option that they can say no after they've tried it or you've shown it to them. They will soon learn the idea of and the power of and the control that they have of making a choice. These are important examples of how you can share control under different circumstances with an autistic individual to model for them and encourage them to be aware of what their own strengths and limitations are, to problem solve, to feel competent when they do make choices that do lead to the results that are identified in advance that need to be accomplished. I'm bringing this through Making Sense of Autism, which offers not only training for professional schools and groups that provide support to autistic individuals, but also individual coaching for parents and autistic individuals themselves. Thank you for listening. I have added additional resources on self-determination if you would like to explore those further, and resources on shared control. Thank you for your attention.